Now to tonight's special report, and this week a good news story. After 15 months of uncertainty, the employees of South Australia's Whyalla Steelworks were handed a lifeline with the contract inked on the sale of the factory. Their white knight is British entrepreneur Sanjeev Gupta. He's been snapping up bankrupt factories all over the UK, turning around forgotten towns and, in the process, making millions. And he says he's done it without making anyone redundant. Europe correspondent Lisa Miller visited the first steel factory that caught the billionaire's attention and the town he helped save.
The sun's just up and the night shift is heading home. A few years ago, these workers in Newport thought they were knocking off for good. The steel industry was in crisis and their factory was in death throes.
It was a very gloomy time. It was the end of the industry as far as we were concerned. You know, an industry I'd been in since I'd left college, and it was gone. There was nothing left.
Ricky Scoose has been a steel man for 30 years. If you didn't work in the factories in Newport in Wales, you knew someone who did. Sons aspired to follow in their dad's footsteps, taking the century-old gondola bridge across the river to the mills. One of only 8 in the world, it's now not much more than a tourist attraction, a relic from the past, part of an industry that was dying.
Welcome everybody to Liberty Steel Newport. It's a proud day for us today as we start production. Please let me show you around.
But one man was convinced steel still had a future. Sanjeev Gupta was the new boss in town and a complete unknown. The Newport Steelworks were mothballed for 2 years, but he still offered half pay to 150 workers.
He decided, I want to retain the workforce, retain the skills. I'll put them on gardening leave, so to speak. And he didn't stop anybody taking other work, but he wanted them when he needed them, he wanted them back.
Everyone turned up except for 2, and only because they died before it reopened.
Well, I'll be honest, he hasn't made any of us redundant, and throughout the country, wherever he's bought anything, nobody's been made redundant.
Sanjeev Gupta is buying distressed factories at breakneck speed, recycling scrap metal and using renewable energy. This mill in Newport runs on biodiesel.
He's expanding like nobody's business, so he's shocking quite a bit of, quite a lot of people in the industry.
He's shocking them.
He's shocking them, yes.
In just under 2 years, this factory's gone from producing nothing to 3,000 of these coils every month, bound for the UK and Europe. And in Sanjeev Gupta's world, expansion is the only way they talk.
BBC journalist Brian Meakin has been filming a documentary on the entrepreneur for the past year.
The world he operates in is quite a chaotic one. You know, he will be flying to Scotland one day and it will be cancelled at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he'll decide he's flying to Australia instead, and the people who work with him will have to cancel all of those bookings and suddenly start booking flights and doing everything to go to Australia. So I think you also need to be a certain type of person to work for him as well, who is not on the clock, who's not expecting to work 9 to 5.
It's a sense of commitment. It's a sense of commitment which he shows towards the people and the business, and he gets it back. So people respond in a similar manner.
But there are doubters.
It is very unique, but time will tell.
Like Cardiff University business professor Max Munday.
So it doesn't matter how efficiently that they work. There are some factors in the industry which are totally out of their control.
And some still have questions about the numbers. How much money is there, and where's it coming from?
As far as he is concerned, and certainly what he always puts to us, is that this is not unusual for a large global company with sales of over £10 billion throughout the world. But ultimately, I think people do question it and do continue to want more information and want more transparency.
But Sanjeev Gupta says the numbers speak for themselves. Thousands of jobs saved and more to come. Lisa Miller, ABC News, Newport, Wales.